So Bytedance just released two new models for generating videos with artificial intelligence that you can find on ComfyUI. But wait, what is ComfyUI? ComfyUI is a node-based system that allows you to have full control with nodes and amplify your view with workflow by using VFX, animation, advertising, games, e-commerce, and fashion design. But before we start, you should know that ComfyUI works locally in order to guarantee your privacy, so we can keep everything safe and in local. This is the initial interface, and we can have different nodes. For example, we can start from the 3 nodes that we have at the beginning. So the first one, we can create a logo image that should be white and with black text. Then we have a texture image that you can render in Blender, and then there is the load image element. So these are 3 nodes, and we can connect directly to batch image. So we have an initial part called input and a final part called output that allow you to connect the nodes. And it works for each part, so you can connect the image 1 and the image 2. So for example, we have the initial image that is the one that we want. For example, we can see at the beginning of this preview video that shows the ComfyUI logo. And then we can merge 2 images. So there is the first one that is texture image, and then we have a background image with multiple elements. So we can render a single part with texture image, and we can also change and edit and create some sort of mask where you can invert also the selection. You can have the color selectors, you can change the thickness, you can change the opacity, you can change the hardness, and you can also change the steps. And there is also mask opacity based on also the mask blending option. In particular, we have a black, white, and negative. And we can also play with different elements like paintbrush. We can have the rubber, we can have other like bucket settings. We can define also the tolerance and the filler opacity, so we can define how much we can have as opacity. And we have also the color selector to have a specific color. And after that you can save, or you can cancel if you don't want to save any updates. Then we have the final part with the load element, and we can also close the node if we want to have a resize view. So we can have 3 nodes differently, and then we connect to batch image. These nodes basically connects everything together, and if we go inside with enter subgraph, we have other parameters. So basically they are the same as before. So as you can see, there are on the output side, so on the last part is the same. So we have image 1 and image 2, and then we can have a get image size. So basically these nodes define the initial image. So if we have a horizontal image, it automatically recognizes, and if we have at the same time the vertical images, we have the same. Then we have a reside and path image, so they are connected to the first image, this one, and we have also for the second node. So basically they are as logic, the load image texture and load element texture. So if we enter the subgraph, we have both size as path image, and then we have also other elements. So here we have the target width and the target height, so we can change inside from here, and we can go even deeper. There is padding color, that is the initial one, that is white, and interpolation basically is an algorithm that defines the final area. But this is more advanced, but we can also set up later. At the moment, I suggest to keep the same, so we can have this sort of interpolation area as algorithm. And we can also add a third image if we have another one, and then it's connected to the final output of image. So if we go back again, it's connected to this part. So basically it's the first image, that is your logo, and then there are two other nodes that define the load texture image and the load element image. And then after that we have Nano Banana Pro that defines the image model, and we can have basically a connection with image and images. So basically these nodes connects all three images inside and gives to this model that is image model. And basically inside we have the prompt. Prompt is basically text element where we describe the final image. So in this case is apply the texture and background from image 2 into the logo from image 1. So basically we have the image 2 combined with the image 1 at the beginning. So basically we have from this video test style example that basically recognize the material object up to logo image. And then there is the logo type is in a 3D setting, so we want 3D setting matching the lights from the matte cap, so from the texture size. And we can describe the final elements from the image 3D, basically with a duplicate and apply with multiple size and position, scattered throughout the 3D environment, creating a sense of depth and playful composition. So basically describe the style that we want to have. And then we have the model, so we can select between Gemini 3 Pro and Nano Banana 2. This model is faster compared to Gemini 3 Pro, but as quality is better the 3 Pro because it has a more advanced feature and also more capabilities to understand the prompt. And then we have the seed. The seed basically is like a key of generation. Every time change generally, this icon define casually, but so a randomized value. We can have also an increment value, so each time increments this counter of 1, or we can decrement the value if you want. And then we have a fixed value that basically is based on a fixed value, so every time it doesn't change. So if we want the same style applied to every generation, we can keep that in order to have the same style, but maybe if we change something inside here. So for example, if we change, for example, by removing like a sentence, it keeps the same style that we have as generation, but it doesn't change the seed. As the aspect ratio basically define the square that we want to have. So we have 1 by 1, but we can set to 16 by 9, so we can have horizontal video. As a resolution, there are multiple type of resolution that define the final quality of the video. I suggest to keep 1K, but you can go up until 4K, but it will require more time. So the higher the quality, the more time it requires for ComfyUI to use. And then we have other advanced settings that basically define the system prompt. What is the system prompt? Basically define the thinking. So basically in this case we are an expert of image generation engine, so we must interpret all the user output regardless the composition and visual directives. So basically we have a prompt that is conversational. Of if lacks of specific detail, we need to creatively change the visual scenario adapting to the context. So this is a very specific prompt. And this is image plus text, where we can also only select image if we want less advanced settings. I suggest to keep the one that we have with image and text. So the the model can interpret the prompt that we want to have, and also the system prompt that defines the expert behind the final prompt. And then we have save image. So basically, after selecting all this image, it combined together. It gives to Nano Banana Pro that basically create an image, and you can save the image. And then we have a Bytedance video. Bytedance videos basically define the Seedance model. So there are different models, so just 1.0 Pro or 1.5 Pro. And basically we can change later this prompt because it has some issue. In particular, the way you write a prompt is really important, but we will see later on the video on how to make an effective prompt. It's based on the resolution size, so we have 180p in this case, and there are lower resolution, but I suggest full HD to have a better quality. And then we have aspect ratio. Aspect ratio basically is on adaptive size. So in this case it changes basically if we import an image that is a square, basically it adapts automatically to 16:9 in this case. And can be also the opposite. If we have a horizontal image 16:9, we can adapt to 1:1 if we want. And basically you can do before or even in post-production, but it's better to have both automatic, in this case adaptive. The duration of the video, I suggest to have a really short video. And also in this case we have another seed that basically defines the generation of the video. That generally is set to casual, but we can also set up to other value. In particular, we can set to fixed value to have the same style also for this part. Increment value to add +1 for the last unit, and decrement value also for the last unit of the seed. And then also here we have more advanced option. I suggest to give camera fixed. We can also apply watermark if we want to protect our quality, and we can also generate audio, but at the moment we can have camera fixed, so we don't need to worry about it. And so we can generate the first video, and for this part we need to write again the prompt. And we can see this is Seedance 1.0 Pro, but we suggest 1.5 Pro because it has better coherence in terms of visual and quality of the video. And you can see here we have all the active job list queue that we can have, and we can see all the results that we did. And there are also some other elements. So in this case, I start generating by taking action on these three images and creating an image from Nano Banana Pro, and basically start interpret the file based on the advanced settings that we generate before, based on 1K resolution 60:9 with this seed, with Gemini Pro model image generation. And this is the image that it generates, this one. And then this is the video that start generating. It requires at least a few minutes, but we can see in the meanwhile other model that we can have, like with Seedance. For example, there are text to video. There are also another with a start frame and an end frame. There are also another image to video. This one that is apply texture, so having multiple elements and logo. Apply texture to logo, so we can change only inside the text that we have. In particular, we can also import a render from Blender with 3D, and we can also import inside. We can also create a product reference HUD basically based on poster, so we can create a poster. Generally, this type of model, they are in collaboration with also Google, so we have Google Gemini with the Banana Pro version, and there are some of them that are only with Seedance, so with Bytedance, so it depends on the type of model that we can use. And there are also with prompt helper that basically describe also a scene from text description. So basically we have an entire large language model that basically helps us to have a prompt helper too. And there are also some of the video character, exploded animation view, in particular in automotive side, and also C-Dream image editor. We can also apply on fashion design with application for character and composition for elements. As you can see, if you want to create a commercial product with scenes, and there are also other elements. For example, there is a C-Dream light that basically can create this sort of effect that works basically with other elements, like with the API mode. And you can also create photography side. So we have the final result in this case, and we can have like this that basically animates automatically. And we can have also other elements, so we can also simplify the prompt by defining the introduction. So we have floating logo, wordmark animates with a zoom in at the start of the video. Then we describe the final action that it should do. In particular, we have the description of the logo texture, and finally we have the style, so we can keep simple and use. This is the final result that we can have. But we can also customize a bit if we want. We can run again with Seedance 1.0 Pro, and basically there are also other models that we can see in the meanwhile. For example, there is a prompt helper. So basically we can see, for example, an image, load image, with a character that works with a snowboard. So we have two images. So first one is load image, where we put the upload image. Then we have another image inside. So the image one connect directly to Stitch image that basically connects together the nodes, and we have also the direction to the right. But we can also put into other directions. So basically here we define the direction that the character should have. Then we have a preview image here. And then we have also match image size. This one is really important. You should check in these products. And because we can have a different size, so you need to match together. And basically it works with Google Gemini again, but with 3.11 Pro model, so it's more advanced compared to before, and the logic is really similar. So we have a prompt, we have a system prompt with a defined structure. In particular, it starts with the initial description, then we have the subject, so we describe in detail every part. So subject, then we have action, then we have a camera, then we have a style, that we have a constraint, so something that we want to avoid, something that we want to remove, and then this kinematic principle that basically it enforces the physical realism, in particular with environmental interaction, depth and parallax, lighting continuity, and clear visual readability. So there are multiple models. There is a preview to as text. Basically it defines the initial image that we can have. So basically it analyzes the first, and then it analyzes the second, and then by generating the image from here, so basically it combines the first one and the second one, combine together, create an image. Then it goes here with preview as text, and it generates a string. So basically a string is a text, in this case a description of both image. And then we have other two nodes that basically are connection from the initial image. So we have a combination, create a preview, and then we have a Google image that gives a preview of text, and then we have Bytedance Seedance as a reference to image, and then we can have a prompt here with resolution, and then we can save the video. The prompt is defined by the preview as text in this case, but if we don't want it, we can remove and we can bypass and we can input our prompt if we want. But in this case we keep enabled, so we can have an image. Before starting this one, we will see the final result of this one. So we have another model like this. In this case it's more static compared to the other, and we can also try other workflow, in this case this one. Let's see what it does. So basically we have a reference image. So basically this is a group. In ComfyUI you can also create groups and also framing nodes inside. We can also change the color to define each type of node. So we can have a stitch image in this case, preview image, and also Google Gemini, preview as text, and Bytedance as image reference to video that defines all the structure that we can have. In particular, we can also generate audio and also downscale if we have higher resolution and we want lower resolution. In this case, we have a 720p, but we can also set up to full HD if you want. And there are also here more advanced settings. In particular, we have auto upscale if you want to do the other type of resolution, in particular from lower image to higher image quality. We set to upscale. If you want the opposite, we want the downscale. And then we can set also the watermark to protect our video. So basically it starts right now, and there are multiple versions of this. So as you can see, there are also other text. As you can see, there are also other texts that I try to do. In particular, we have also this one that is really creative because it keeps the same coherence and same visual style effects compared to the other. So as you can see, this model is really powerful because it can give you a really nice effect with the context that we can have. And as you can see, there is also the possibility to download also the image and also apply filter. In this case, also you can create a mask setter where you can change the opacity if you want to lower down the opacity, or if you want to go higher with the opacity. Then there is the thickness of the, in this case, the mask that you can find here right here. But if we want to change something, it's similar to Photoshop. And as you can see, there is also the possibility to switch the view from horizontal size. There are also rubbers. There are different things that you can change instantly. So it starts creating also some reference image node. And this type of things also works really well with characters. And there are also some technique like video up painting based on different strategy that we can apply to the final scenes. And you can also create some storyboard For example, you can create some storyboard for film production with a simple prompt and a reference. So you can start with a reference and you can have like a grid 3 by 3. So we can generate a storyboard for a film production or something like a campaign. And there are also other things more related to image edit compared to the other. And there is also lip syncing with characters. So if you want to upload an audio file inside the workflow, you can do it, and it automatically recognizes and synchronizes with the lip of the final character. And there are also some other models outside Seedance that can do similar style. There is also ATI motion control that basically define all the points inside the scene and can create an animate path node to draw paths inside your working environment. And there are also Queen Image, for example, to create a 360 panorama, to create a dynamic environment. And there are also other styles that you can see inside the workflow. So basically now he creates the preview as text, so basically defines everything. So we can have the same style as subject are in this case the action that we want to have. So each second is defined by the prompt. So basically it generates automatically what we define at the beginning. In particular, we want a subject, we want an action, we want a camera, we want a style, we want to fix constraint, and we want kinematic principle that basically enforce these type of things. And finally it starts the final run reference to the video. So basically this is the final output that you can see. So basically it defines the entire scenes by each second, so it becomes so advanced, and it's so smooth compared to the past, so it's really good video looking. Hope the video is helpful, and see you soon.